I'm Kylene. Welcome to our channel, our homestead. I just wanted to hop on just for a second and give you a quick update of some things that have been going on around here. We've been up here for about a month now, and to recap, the first week we had it snowmageddon, so we had this huge winter storm that brought us lots of snow and frigid temperatures. Then the second week I found out that I was going to need surgery, and that the surgery was going to be the following Friday of that week. So the second week that we were here, I had carpal tunnel release surgery done on both hands at the same time. So I have been recovering from that. I'm not gonna lie, it's been something. I'm not gonna say that I don't recommend having both done at the same time, but let's just say that it has provided many more short-term challenges, because what this means is I'm basically out of commission around here. I can't do a lot of anything. It's getting better. We're about 2 weeks into recovery, and I have 2 or 3 weeks more before I'm kind of back to normal, but then I can continue to experience weaker grip and hand strength for a while that will gradually improve. So overall, the total recovery in terms of recovery of symptoms that I've been experiencing, it could be 6 months to a year. I've been dealing with carpal tunnel symptoms and issues for much of my adult life. It started out with just some numbness when I would sleep, and then just gradually progressed. About 5 years ago, it got to the point where I was experiencing numbness during activities during the day. I quit playing music about 5 years ago because I couldn't play guitar or bass or piano. It's really difficult if you can't feel what you're doing when your hands are numb. So I stopped doing that. I stopped doing several things that I really like to do, just accommodating and adapting to the issues. Fast forward to a little over a year ago, I started cleaning houses. And it was very successful, and it got to the point where I was turning down people. It was really great. I loved the people, my clients that I had, and I missed them. And I liked the work, but what that did was exacerbate the carpal tunnel issues that I had, and it became a point where I had pain every day during my sleeping and waking hours, and numbness constantly, like it never stopped. And that was a new development, and it just became to the point where, you know, especially with our plans to move out here, I really needed to do something about it, you know, otherwise I wouldn't do much good around here. So I didn't know that it was going to be such a quick scheduling in terms of surgery. I figured, like with most things, it'd be like a few months down the road, but they were like, no, we can fit you in this Friday. And I was like, oh, okay. It's been pretty rough. Scott has been having to do everything that I normally do and everything he normally does at the same time. It hasn't been without its challenges, but I'm happy that I was able to get that done. The good thing about doing it right now is that, you know, within a month to a month and a half, I will be good to go and be able to do things. And it will also be our spring, basically time to start planning things. I haven't been able to do a whole lot during the last couple of weeks, but one thing that I was able to do was go through the seeds that I have and order any of the seeds that I don't have for the garden that I'm preparing to plant here in a month or so. If you haven't heard about freeheirloomseeds.org, it's a great organization. I love it, and it's by far one of the more economical ways to get your seeds. It's a nonprofit organization, so you make a donation. So I donated $50, and I will be receiving about 80 varieties of seeds and plants that I hope to plant. Yeah, the one thing that I've been able to do is geek out about seeds and gardens, where I want the garden. I'm gonna give you a real quick tour of the place here. I don't think we've done that yet, and it's one of the very few things that I can do. So, you know, if you don't see a whole lot of me in the next few weeks, it's probably because I'm just trying not to go crazy and I can't really do anything. So if you look over here, this whole area right here, we're going to turn into a garden area. And what we plan to do is like a raised bed garden in this area right here. And then beyond that, this way, that direction, we're thinking about planting some fruit trees, having like an orchard thing. I've learned that you can get really cheap trees from the Arkansas Department of Agriculture. And I think the same goes for most states. If you look at their Department of Conservation or Department of Agriculture, I've noticed that Missouri does it too. And that's kind of in my area. So there are some trees that we can get very economically through that means. The rest I'll need to buy from an orchard. But yeah, I'm thinking way out there beyond this initial place here, we'll be able to plant some fruit trees. It'll be a few years before we can see a return on that, but it's a good investment to make when you first get onto some land. I also want to get some berry bushes and find places for them. A lot of these trees that you see here are not going to be here. We plan on taking most of these, like all of these right here in the immediate area, we're going to be taking those out. This land was logged, I think about 15-20 years ago, so there's a lot of new growth trees, and there are a few bigger mature trees that I'd really like to keep, just for the sake of that there's not that many big trees on this property. But these smaller trees are definitely going to be put to a different purpose, probably to help build our shop and any other building projects, and then if nothing else, firewood. So this is the raised bed garden area right here. We're thinking about taking some fill dirt and filling in this dip here a little bit, because water does kind of tend to congregate there. What you're seeing on the ground is not snow, it's a whole bunch of sleet, and a lot of it's already melted off, but hopefully it's going to get warm enough today to kind of melt the rest of it off. Another thing that we've been dealing with around here is where we have our camper just tends to pull up anytime it rains or snows. So if you look here, see that mess right there in front of our camper? That is something that we're gonna have to think about dealing with. So I have stepping stones that I just play hopscotch with anytime I want to go in and out. So come on, let's go look at the rest of this. All right, so we're up the hill a little bit. Up here, if you can see these pink flags, I don't know if you can or not, but this is kind of the area where we're thinking about putting in our shop slash rainwater catchment system. It's up the hill from where the cabins are going to be. So our plan is to gravity feed it down to the cabins. So this is kind of where we're going to put that. We do need to get an excavator out and flatten this out, kind of dig into that hill a little bit, build a retaining wall, take out some of these trees, and that's going to be our shop and rainwater catchment system house right there. Okay, and then down the hill in the direction that I'm pointing is where our cabins are going to be. So let's go check it out a little bit closer. All right, so here we are. I don't know if you can, let me see if I can make it to where you can see the flags, but this is going to be the first set of cabins here, and then over here will be the main house, the main cabin there. We're going to kind of build them on the edge of the hill here, but if you look, if you come over here, you can see down the hill and what it looks like. I have to look where I'm going. All right, look at that. You can see it's kind of comes down a little bit, then it goes down, plateaus off, and then goes down and plateaus off again. This area right here is going to be where we hope to build a pasture for goats or sheep, possibly in the future. But it's gorgeous. All right, moving on. It's a little bit sketchy walking out here because of the sleet. It's a lot slicker than snow. And the sun's been on it for a little bit, so it's even more slick. So this is going to be where our main house will be, right here. And we're going to build a deck, take out those trees over there, and build a deck just overlooking the hill there. It's going to be beautiful. Here's a gorgeous view right there. Beautiful. Over here at the edge of the tree line is where our compost bins will be for our composting toilets, and then also just our regular compost bin. So that's kind of where we're going to put that. And then if we turn around here, there's our camper, and that's kind of where in front of the garden area, that's kind of where I envision building a chicken coop and having our chickens. I'm trying to make it to where everything is kind of very close by, like, you know, the things that we need real close to the cabin are right here, and then we branch out as we go from there. Over here, somewhere off the end of this hill here, we're going to dig in a root cellar so it's close to the cabin, not too far away. So I think we are going to make raised beds, building our raised bed garden, a priority, because we got about a month to a month and a half before I can actually plant. And I may not be able to have the huge garden that I have in my dreams, but we may start a little bit smaller this year for the first year and then add on to it later. But I figure any little bit that I can plant and harvest and preserve and eat during the summer and winter months going into this next year will just be that much more that we don't have to purchase. And so I would call that a win, however that works out. So if you're new around here and you're just hopping on this video, we've got a few other ones, and then we will be recording many more in the future, because as you can see, we've got a lot of work to do here. Thank you for joining us. We hope to see you next time. Bye.